Hello everyone, I'm Alia Dipu. Welcome to my channel. Today I am back with another discussion of NCERT Class 7. This time it's social science, specifically politics, and we're going to be discussing Chapter 1 on equality. In this chapter, we are introduced to the critical role of equality in democracy with specific reference to our India. Even though the Constitution of India ensures equality for all before the law, the lives of Indians are far from equal. So we're going to discuss what is equality and what is its importance. This is an introductory video. So in this video, we're going to be introduced to the story of Kanta and the discussion points in this chapter. Let me ask you this. What is equality? What comes to mind when you hear the term equality? If everyone gets equal treatment, is that what's equality? Like I said in our introduction, our constitution ensures equality for all before the law. But is that really 100% right? Every day we hear one or two incidents where the idea of equality is violated. The people who have money have the rights or the freedom to do whatever is it that they want to do. In government hospitals or private hospitals, and in private schools and government schools, the services that we are getting is very different. So we need to understand what is equality in various dimensions. But before that, let's hear the story of Kanta. And through her story, let's understand that the term equality is of a great or a dynamic concept. In our textbook, there is a long line, and the people in the line are waiting to cast their vote. Speaking of textbooks, if you guys could take your textbook, it'd be easier to understand. I have my textbook here. Let's see the line. There are many people in this line, and all of them have different types of occupation. Let's see. The first lady in the line is Manjit Kaur, and she's a teacher. Behind her is Teja Singh, a trader. Then Girish Rao, who's a student. Kanta Devi and Sujita Kumari, who is a domestic worker. Abdul Reshman, who's an artisan. Shabnam Bano, a housewife. Gracie Lalang and Isaac Lalang, who are a consultant and government officer respectively. Roxana Mirza, a media person. Yograj, who is unemployed. And at the very last, we have Ashok Jain, who is an industrialist. Even though the last person, who is Ashok Jain, is an industrialist and he has money, he is still at the back of the line as his money does not allow him to cut in front of all the people at the voting line. People from all walks of life are standing in the same line. The story is from the perspective of Kanta Devi. She is talking to her friend Sujata. She's saying that she's happy to be in the same line as Jain Sahib. Kanta Devi is a domestic worker at Jain Sahib's house. So Kanta Devi is telling her friend how happy she is to be in the same line as her employer. When it's Kanta's turn to vote, she thinks in her mind that she will vote for the candidate who promised to bring tap water to her locality. Kanta and many others have the freedom to vote for the candidate who they think will work for them. Mr. Jain leaves after casting his vote. He bids goodbye to Kanta. Kanta returns home with her friend Sujata. She says to Sujata that her daughter Gudiya is sick. I will have to ask Mr. Jain for an advance, and she decides to finish all the work in Mr. Jain's house so she can ask for an advance and take Gudiya to the hospital. Kanta reaches home and goes to her daughter. She tells her that she will take her to the hospital and until then tells her to take rest. Kanta steps out of her home and realizes why her daughter gets sick so often. The locality is very filthy and rarely cleaned. She realizes that Jain Sahib's children don't get sick nearly as much as hers do. She goes to the house of the Jains and the Mrs. Jain asks her to clean every corner of the house and gives her an advance and advises her to never repeat this again. And repeat this means never ask for an advance salary again. Kanta takes her daughter to the hospital where she is waiting in a line. There she thinks to herself, Mr. Jain wouldn't have to wait in a line. In the morning, to cast the vote, they were all standing in the same line. But at the hospital, Kanda has to wait in a line, but Mr. Jain does not have to, as he goes to a private hospital and he gets priority for paying money. Kanda thinks that if she and Mr. Jain have the same freedom while casting a vote, why does she have to wait in the hospital for a consultation while Mr. Jain does not have to? Is this freedom? Is this what equal rights is? If Mr. Jain has the freedom to immediately see a doctor, why doesn't Kanta have so? What makes Kanta think that Mr. Jain and his children and his family live in a wealthy or healthy society in a good house, and if they want to see a doctor, they don't have to wait, while Kanta does not have any of those basic necessities? This is why we have to learn what is equality and understand its various dimensions. So, once again, specifically, this is what we are going to learn in the chapter. Equality in its various forms, story of Om Prakash Valmiki and Mr. and Mrs. Ansari, importance of recognizing dignity, equality in Indian democracy, midday meal scheme, issues of equality in other democracies. Let's hear that once again. What are we going to study in this chapter? Equality and its various forms, voting in the basis of caste, religion, etc. Story of Om Prakash Valmiki and Mr. and Mrs. Ansari. Importance of recognizing dignity, equality in Indian democracy, midday meal scheme, issues of equality in other democracy. So, friends, that was the introductory video to the chapter in politics on equality. Make sure to stay tuned for the rest of the parts.